listening to Her Profit Era, the podcast for founders who want a business that actually works. A business that's profitable, predictable, and pays them well. I'm Cindy Kumar, a CPA, a fractional CFO from Abbotsford, BC, Canada. I'm the person founders call when they're tired of high revenue months with no money left over. I started this podcast because too many founders were chasing sales while their margins, cash flow, and bank accounts told a completely different story. I believe profit and money in the bank is the standard, not a bonus, and that every founder deserves clarity around their numbers. Each week, you'll get real financial strategy you can actually use and honest conversations with founders and industry experts about what it really takes to build a business that lasts. Women are losing money not because they can't get clients or people to work with them. It's because they're undercharging for the value that they provide. I was reading this book called Bring Yourself, and there was an example in here about two teenage girls that were gonna babysit. Now, one, when asked what she charges hourly to babysit, she was just like, I don't know, you can pay me whatever you want, whatever you paid your last babysitter. And she felt so uncomfortable talking about money or how much to get paid. Now, the second one, she was like, this is my hourly rate. This is what the standard is for babysitting in this area. And she had no problem talking about pricing. And I hear this all the time from the women I work with. Like, she's fully booked, her calendar is jam packed, clients love her, but she still can't afford to pay herself. And when I look at the numbers, it's never about demand. It always comes down to pricing. And she's just like discounting her services. She can't say no to people. She's helping anybody and everybody. And she just feels bad. So she's not charging what she should be charging. But the reality is that I want you to understand is that your expenses don't discount. Like, you still gotta make your rent every single month. If you work from home, that's like your home office. You still have your mortgage, you still have your bills to pay. If you pay for subscriptions, like the CRA, IRS, they're not discounting taxes just because you discounted a client. Like, do you see how silly that sounds? And we as women, naturally, we start undercharging. We want to help anybody and everybody. But I want you to understand you started your business to be profitable. Your goal is to make money. You want to be able to pay yourself from your business, and you need to be able to charge so that you can actually be profitable. You need to make your expenses. Like, you have to pay your rent. You have certain expenses you pay on a monthly basis or yearly basis that you got to pay for. And you got to stop discounting for your services. And I want to share this example because it's one of the easiest things you can do, but also the most hardest. So let's say you have $500,000 in revenue, or you have like a million, for example. If you just do a 20% price increase at $500,000, you're adding $100,000 into your business without selling more, without dealing with more clients, or spending more money. At $1,000,000, that becomes $200,000. Now tell me, what would you do with an additional $100,000 or $200,000? There's so much you could do. You could finally pay yourself. You could finally go on vacation. You could finally hire someone to support you in the business, right? So I really want us to stop undercharging. I really understand, what does it actually cost to run your business? Because you need to be profitable. You need to be charging enough to pay your bills, have money left over, still have money for taxes, still be able to pay yourself, and still have cushion in your bank account for expenses and things coming up in your business. And that's the reality. So if you're like, I'm too afraid to do a 20% price increase, start with five. I've said this before, every single year, your expenses go up by 3 to 5% because of inflation. So if you're not increasing your prices by 5% at least, you're gonna be in a loss position every single year, every single month, because your costs to run your business have increased and your prices need to go up by just as much, if not more. So, really take a step back and ask yourself, why are you so afraid to increase your prices? Like, what's going on? Is it the type of clients you're working with that you feel like you need to discount? Or do you feel like you're selling by volume? Like, what does your business structure look like? And it's totally okay. Like, I've been there too, where I was charging so many different price points for different clients, offering different services, doing more work than I was being paid for. But once you take a step back and be like, okay, like, is what direction do I want my business to go? And then I had to let go of clients, and it was okay. It was scary losing that revenue, but I knew I needed a short-term trade-off for the long term. So maybe you need to get rid of clients. You increase your prices, maybe half of them say yes to a 20% increase because they understand the value that you bring to the table, and maybe half of them say no. But with the price increase, you can work with less clients and make more money. So I really want you to understand that. Like, price increases, yes, it can be scary, but if you're serious about growing a profitable business, like, you need to separate yourself as the person version of you and the business owner version of you. Emma Grede says this in her book all the time, that a lot of us are running our businesses from like an employee kind of mindset where we're not putting ourselves in like the business owner's shoes and making decisions on how the business can be more profitable, make more money, and support the long term vision of the business. And that's why you started your business. You didn't start a business to operate like a charity. Like, the goal isn't to put yourself in debt or go out of business. The goal is to be profitable, and you're going to need to increase your prices. So, by how much? That really comes down to you. So, understanding what's your comfort level. For example, I'm working with a wedding planner, and she was like, I only want to increase it by like 6 to 7% just to see how that goes. And then as she builds the confidence, then we can increase it by more. And you can always go down on your prices. So let's say you start at 20%, you get like one person to say yes, or you find like your clients are very hesitant, then it's like, okay, let's drop it down to 15, go down. Or the other option is like you slowly increase it. So you come up with the number and then you're like, okay, like once I hit 5 clients at this price range, I'm gonna go up for the next 5. Then you go for the next 5. And then you keep doing that. And then once you start getting like no's and stuff like that, then it's like you come down on your pricing and you understand, okay, what is the price range I can go up to? And then you just stay at that price point. So I just want to give you some examples. We're like halfway through the year. So really reflect on like, what do your prices look like so far? When was the last time you increased it? I know a lot of places and people wait until January to increase their prices because they're like, okay, it's a new year. I can justify the price increase, but you can increase your prices whenever you want. Any stores that you shop at, like even groceries, the prices increase whenever the grocery store wants to or the government wants to. They're not emailing you or calling you and letting you know, like, Cindy, like, cucumbers just went up by $1. Like, are you okay with that? Like, no. The grocery store and like these stores and people that we work with, they're gonna increase their prices like regardless. So let's say you work with like a hairstylist, she's not gonna call you and let you know, okay, like my price increased by like 5%. No, if you trust that person, you work with them, you like the value, then you're gonna keep going to that person regardless of their prices. And that's the reality and mindset you need to go into when running your business. So 20% is just an example so you can see like how big of an impact it can just have on like your bottom line without you having to sell more, get more clients, do more work, or pay for more costs. It's just like a simple way. And you can always test it out like every 5 clients. Now, if you are struggling and you're just like, I don't even know where to begin with my price increase, this is where like you can apply for CFO on call. It's my one-on-one partnership with clients where we do like a full financial audit of what's going on in their business, what happened in the last year, what do we need to focus on the next 90 days? And that's where I would come in and like set up a plan for you. So for example, with the price increases, I would look at it and be like, okay, like if this is where you want to be in terms of like profit, money in the bank, how much you want to pay yourself, then I would reverse engineer that and be like, okay, this is like your price point. And then we'd look at like, what are your clients currently paying you? What does that kind of look like? And then we're kind of just like playing around with it so I can understand like the full picture of like what's going on in your business, who's your clients, what price point are they at. In order to make your goals happen, what do we need to do? So, if you found this helpful, I really want you to just take a step back, look at your pricing, ask yourself, when was the last time I increased it? Then even look at like what clients are you working with? Which ones do you enjoy? Which ones do you not enjoy? Because you hear it all the time online as well. It's like the least amount someone pays you, the more picky and more of a headache they are versus like high paying clients. They're not very picky. They're easy to work with. They understand the value. For example, when I was working with tax clients, like a $250 client, I was spending more time with them versus like a $2,500 client. And like the math just doesn't math. Like we want to work smarter, we want to be less invested and putting less pressure on ourselves. Like we want to work with good clients where we wake up and we're like, we want to talk to this person. Not like, oh, like I have to deal with this $150 client. They're so picky. They want this and that, but they don't want to pay the extra for it. So that's it for today's episode. Really just reflect on what's going on in your business. And pricing is the easiest way you can add profit to your bottom line with just a price increase. So if you found it helpful, please like leave a review. This podcast is just growing organically. I don't run ads. I don't do much about it. So if you find it helpful, share it with a friend. You can leave a review on like Apple Podcasts. Spotify has like the star rating as well. So I'd appreciate if you could do that. Also just some feedback, like what episodes do you enjoy? What do you want more of? I can't believe we're already at like a year and a half of running this podcast, and I'm just super excited to see it grow and where it ends up. So thanks again for like listening, and I'll see you next time. If you're a founder who wants real strategy, not noise, and you want someone in your corner helping you build a business that feels aligned, is profitable, and actually supports your life, you can apply for CFO on call. This is my one-on-one financial partnership for established founders, typically making between $500K to $2 million, who want clarity, who want structure and confidence with their numbers. The link is in the show notes so you can schedule a profit strategy call, or you can DM me CFO on Instagram at @CindyKamar and I'll send over all the details.